Let's see how you did on the comma worksheet. Check your answers by watching this video. Let's look at number 1. In number 1, we have what's called an appositive. Let me get my pen ready. So we got to figure out where the appositive is, the extra information, where we repeat the same thing. Halloween, one of my favorite holidays of the year, is the time to dress up in a costume and get candy from strangers. So our positive is right here. One of my favorite holidays of the year, because we're just repeating what Halloween is. So we break it off with commas. Make sure that you have these 2 commas on your worksheet, and if not, please change your answers. Let's look at number 2. In number 2, we have the transition in addition. We know we have to have a comma after transitions. In addition, my favorite types of candy are, we have a series here. 1, 2, 3. So if we have 3 or more, we have to have commas. So we're going to put one after Milky Way, the first thing, after Snickers, and that's it. Number 3. Now remember, this is one of those words we have to look for, when. It's a subordinate conjunction. And if you listen to the sentence, you'll see where the comma goes. When my friends and I go out to trick or treat, we like to coordinate our outfits together. See how the pause comes right here? So we need a comma right there. Number 4, during the 1600s. This is another transitional phrase right here. So we need a comma after it. During the 1600s, many women in Salem, Massachusetts. Now this is one we didn't really talk about in our comma notes, but if you ever have a city and then you have the state, you have to separate them with a comma. Many women in Salem, Massachusetts were accused of being witches. All right, now we have this conjunction and. So if it's a compound sentence, meaning we have 2 sentences, then we need to put a comma. This part right here is a complete sentence, but let's see if this part here is. They were put on trial and sometimes even hanged for suspicion of witchcraft. So they were, that's beginning of our new sentence. So we have 2 sentences here. So we need to put one there. Now I don't need to put one here because this is actually 2 things. It's not a complete sentence. They were put on trial and sometimes even hanged. These are 2 things they're telling you about witches, that they were put on trial and that they were sometimes hanged. So this is just a series of 2 things. We don't need a comma for a series of 2 things. So you just have your comma here, here, and here. That's it. Number 5, we have some dialogue here. So we want to separate the dialogue from what's not the dialogue. So we're going to put a comma here. Trick or treat, said the children as the woman opened the door. Number 6, last year, one of my neighbors, the McDonald's, all right, so we have an appositive here because I'm repeating neighbors and McDonald's. So we'll put one here. We separate it here. Didn't give out candy and someone threw eggs at their house. So we have a conjunction. Let's see if this is 2 sentences. Someone threw eggs at their house. Well, this could stand by itself. We have our subject and we have our verb. So let's put a comma here. And then we have a comma after last year as well, because this is a transitional phrase. Number 7, this is another subordinate conjunction. So we have a comma in the middle of our sentence. Since Halloween falls on a Friday this year, I can stay out as late as I want. Now you could put a comma 2 different places. You could say, since Halloween falls on a Friday, comma, this year I can stay out as late as I want. Or you can say, since Halloween falls on a Friday this year, comma, I can stay out as late as I want. So you could put one here or you could put one here, just depending on how you want to say the sentence. But you only need one of these commas. So choose this one or this one. Number 8, I usually like to make my own costume, but this year, however, we have a transition in the middle here, so we want to separate that. I think I will buy it at a Halloween store. Well, we have a conjunction, so we need to figure out, is this 2 complete sentences? This year, however, I think I will buy it at a Halloween store. That sentence can stand by itself. So we put a comma here. Remember, if this wasn't a complete sentence, we wouldn't put a comma here. It's not a compound sentence unless there's two complete sentences. Number 9, everyone in my neighborhood gives out candy, which is why it is one of the busiest streets in town on Halloween. So I put a comma here because this is additional information that I have here. And number 10, in order to get the most candy, you have to try and go to as many houses as you can. So first of all, I know that there's a comma here because this is a transition. And if you listen, you can hear the pause. In order to get the most candy, you have to try and go to as many houses as you can. Okay, so we have and. Let's see. You have to try and go to as many houses. So this is actually a series. It's telling me two things, to try and to go. So I don't need a comma if it's only two things. And it's not a complete sentence. Go to as many houses as you can. It doesn't have a subject. Here's another conjunction though. I need to make sure this is a complete sentence. If you knock politely, say trick or treat and give the people handing out candy a big bright smile. Okay, so I actually need a period here. Or sorry, a comma here, because this is two complete sentences. If you knock politely, this is one of our subordinate conjunctions, so I know I'm going to have a comma in there. If you knock politely, comma, say, now wait a minute, I've got dialogue, so I've got to put a comma, trick or treat, and give the people handing out candy a big bright smile. They might give you even more. All right, let's see how many commas I have. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now wait a minute, I have dialogue here. I need to put a comma after here. And this was a trick one because you also should have added either a period here or you could have put a semicolon, which is a fancy one. But this right here isn't a complete sentence. So if you got this part here, this extra error, you get a bonus point. So good job. Make sure that you've made all your corrections and turn your paper in once you've done that.